You guys, so today's the day. We're gonna pull and pickle us some beets. Stay tuned. Alright, so I've got my big beet bed in here. Beets here, and goes all the way through. Got some carrots that are going to seed, and then a bunch of sunflowers. So I'm gonna go ahead and get busy and start pulling some beets. Alright, and I'm going to throw them into my beautiful colander, and then we'll take them inside and process them. Hey guys, so now we've got the beets inside the house, and I've got kind of just a little workstation here I wanted to talk about. First off, I just wanted to say this year's a drought year, so normally when I would bring the beets in, set up my cutting board on the edge of my sink, and would process these beets, I would just keep the water running so I can rinse them as I'm going, you know. But this year, because we're in a drought, I've just got this bowl set aside. So what I'm going to do is trim up beets. I'll take most of the leaves off to about an inch and a half above the root. I'll trim off some of the roots, but I'll still leave a good inch on that too. Then what I'm going to do is, well, after I make sure they're good and rinsed, is I'm going to put them in a bucket. See, I've got one down here already done in the bucket. And these are the beets. I'll go ahead and do well, more than a parboil. We're going to actually boil these for about 20 minutes until they're fork tender before we get to pickling and canning. Beets kind of take a while because you need to boil them and then go to the canning process, so you've got to pick them and clean them, and it's kind of a long process, but simple steps. But anyway, that's why I've got the bucket situation set up here, is because I'm just really trying to save some water. And then we'll take these outside and boil them up, and then we will get to putting our canning stuff together. So I've got this bucket for my odds and ends. Usually I would keep leaves to eat as a spinach green or a green, but it's a drought year, and my chickens are really needing some nice greenery, so I'm just going to go ahead and give it all to them. So anyway, I've got my little station set up here, and let's do one beet together, and then I'll go ahead and finish these up through the magic of YouTube. I should say as well that this is kind of it's a messy situation. I'm an organic gardener, so when I bring in, you know, all this stuff, it's got bugs in it. Greens into the greens bucket. But I do what I can to kind of mitigate that, keep them in the sink or in one of these steel bowls. So the root's off the end. I'm going to take this over to here, give it a good rinse. Now remember, I'm going to store this until I'm ready to put it into the canner, or excuse me, into the boiling water in this bucket full of water. Oh, and I didn't tell you why. So why are we going to boil these first? First reason is because we're going to slip the skin off the outside. See all these cracks and stuff? Peeling that with a knife or a vegetable peeler is going to take forever. So boiled beets, the skin will slip right off the top, and the roots will slip right off as well. But also the inside of this will cook a bit, and that's really what you want if you're going to pickle them. Alright, so here I go. I'm going to just speed through all this, and we'll see you in a minute. Okay, you guys, so we've got all those beets processed down in my bucket. Here. Beautiful. And I have on the outdoor cooker here, this is obviously a water bath canner, and the water in here is something I used to can some peppers yesterday, so I kept the water, and I'll go ahead and process the beets in there, reuse that water since we're in a drought. And then I have the pickling liquid here. I'm just using the ball recipe, which I'll go ahead and link down below. It's pretty simple, straightforward. I'm tripling it because I think I have triple the amount of beets that I need. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting beets into the water, starting with the biggest ones, and ending with the smallest ones, and letting it go for about 20 or 30 minutes until they're fork tender. Okay, and here's the leftover water that those beets were soaking in. Just as easy as that to save a little bit of water. Alright, you guys, it's actually been about a half hour now. I tried to spear these at 20 minutes and they weren't going in well, but they are now good enough for me. So I'm going to go ahead and drain these and then cool them down enough to where I can handle them to go ahead and peel off this skin. So I'm going to do that now. Alright, so I just moved the beets into this colander, drained them out the bottom, and now just using well water, cold water, to cool them down a little bit. So again, we're saving the water in the bucket, but you can see now that the skin will just peel right off. So I'm going to take these somewhere where I can process them, peel the skin off, cut these up, and start putting them in some jars. And wash my hands. So I decided just to go ahead and process these outside, keep the heat outside. I'm going to go ahead and just, like I said before, peel these and put them in this other bowl. And then we'll take them inside the house and get them going in the jars. So right now I took the water bath canner off the flame because these are out of it, but I added the pickling spice mixture. Put it on the flame so you can see right there. So it's heating up while I'm outside. Alright, I'll see you when we're done. Okay, now we're taking those filled jars, bringing them out here. And while this is coming back up to temperature, what I'll do is I've got the rack up, and I'll just go ahead and put the jars. This is what that rack is for, is putting jars in and taking jars out. So we'll go ahead and do this. It'll also keep everything nice and hot, right? And then I'll put the lid back on, and then I will go inside and do this all over until I'm done packing this full of jars. Alright, now we're full. Believe it or not, one of them already just sealed hot contents, hot jars into boiling water. So now we're going to lift it down. Pray we have enough water in here to cover about an inch or two. Ta-da! Bring it back up to the boil. Let's see. This outdoor cooker is working great. I love the detail of the adjustable handle. It's pretty accurate. Alright, so we're at a boil still, even though I put the jars in there, but they were hot contents, hot jars, hot lids. So I'm going to go ahead and put the timer on for 30 minutes. Alright, you guys, it's been a half hour. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And then I'm going to move the jars from there to the outdoor table. And we'll take a look and see how many sealed up. Alright, so we've got them all out here. And let's go ahead and take any extra water off the top. Oh, that one just sealed up. And you can still see that they're still evacuating air. Let's take a look at that up close. And they'll do this for a significant period of time. Which is one reason why you don't want to move around jars a lot that are just out of the canner. You want to let them sit and cool so you don't interfere with that process. And yeah, so I'll let them cool down out here. It's super muggy today. It's in the 90s, so we'll go ahead, let those cool down for several hours, and then I'll move them inside to the air conditioning. And then 24 hours, so tomorrow morning I'll take the rings off, wash the jars, and pop them into storage. So that's how you can pickled beets. Let me know if you have any questions.